In September 1859, astronomer Richard Carrington was sketching sunspots when a sudden flash of light blinded his telescope. Within hours, the skies above Earth ignited. Auroras blazed across the Caribbean, the Amazon, even Rome. Telegraph wires sparked, operators were electrocuted, and entire networks burst into flame. That was over 160 years ago. No satellites, no internet, no power grids. And yet, one solar storm nearly pushed the 19th century into chaos. Now, imagine the same storm. In 2025, flights grounded, GPS erased, banks frozen, the internet gone in an instant, power grids collapsing like dominoes, and all of it caused by a single eruption from the sun. NASA calls it a worst-case scenario. Scientists say it's not if it happens again, but when. So what exactly was the Carrington Event? Why does NASA fear its return? And what would happen to our world if it struck tomorrow? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll see why the greatest threat to modern civilization isn't war or AI or politics. It's the star we orbit every single day. On the morning of September 1st, 1859, Richard Carrington, a quiet English astronomer, set up his telescope as usual. He was sketching dark sunspots on the surface of the sun when suddenly a blinding flash of white light erupted across his lens. It lasted just 5 minutes. But that burst of energy, invisible to the naked eye, was already racing toward Earth at unimaginable speed. Within 17 hours, the planet was under siege. The first warning came not from scientists, but from the skies themselves. Farmers in Cuba looked up and saw blood-red curtains of light shimmering overhead. Gold miners in Colorado woke in the middle of the night, convinced dawn had come, and began making breakfast. In Rome, people spilled into the streets, staring in disbelief as green and crimson auroras blazed across the horizon, at latitudes where no aurora should ever be seen. Then the real chaos began. Telegraph operators across North America and Europe suddenly found their systems surging with electricity. Sparks leapt from the machines. Paper caught fire. Some operators were thrown back from their desks, stunned or even burned. In Montreal, entire telegraph offices went dark, while others, bizarrely, kept working even after the batteries were disconnected. The storm itself was powering the lines, driving currents through the very wires meant to control them. Think about that for a moment. This was a world with no satellites, no smartphones, no GPS, no modern infrastructure. And yet, one solar eruption was powerful enough to set the 19th century's only global communications system ablaze. Newspapers reported the skies glowed as if on fire. Scientists struggled to explain what had happened. Most people simply stared upward in fear, convinced it was a sign from God. But to astronomers like Carrington, it was something else. Proof that the sun could unleash forces capable of crippling human technology. And though the world moved on, the memory of that storm never faded. Today we call it the Carrington Event. And modern scientists warn, if the same storm struck now, in the age of satellites and the internet, the consequences wouldn't just be strange lights in the sky. They could be catastrophic. For decades, the Carrington Event was treated like a historical curiosity, a strange footnote in the age of telegraphs. But as human technology advanced, scientists began to realize something chilling. Our modern world is far more vulnerable than the 19th century ever was. Today, our planet is wrapped in a delicate web of satellites, fiber optic cables, GPS systems, and power grids stretching across continents. All of it depends on electricity. All of it depends on stability. And all of it, every satellite, every transformer, every line of code, can be undone by the same kind of storm Carrington witnessed through his telescope. NASA scientists track these solar eruptions constantly. They classify flares by strength. C-class are small, M-class are moderate, and X-class, the most extreme, are the monsters. The Carrington Event? It wasn't just an X-class. It was a solar superstorm, the kind that releases billions of tons of charged particles into space, moving at millions of miles per hour. And here's the terrifying part. It nearly happened again. In July 2012, NASA's stereo satellites observed a solar storm so massive that had it struck Earth, experts say it would have rivaled or even exceeded the Carrington Event. The only reason we were spared? Earth was in the wrong place at the right time. The storm missed us by a matter of days. Scientists later called it a cosmic bullet dodged, but you can't dodge forever. The sun operates in cycles, 11-year peaks and valleys of activity, and as we approach solar maximum, the probability of another Carrington-scale storm rises dramatically. NASA has issued warnings. So has NOAA, which runs the Space Weather Prediction Center. Their message is consistent. It's not a question of if another solar superstorm will happen, but when. And when it does, we won't be looking at just beautiful auroras in strange places. We'll be facing a chain reaction of failures across every layer of our infrastructure. Satellites could be disabled or destroyed, GPS signals jammed, radio communication blacked out, power grids overloaded, burning out transformers that could take months, even years, to replace. NASA has models, simulations, and warning systems. But even with early detection, we might have only hours, not days, to prepare. Hours to protect satellites, shut down grids, and brace for impact. Hours to defend a civilization built entirely on technology from a star we barely understand. And yet, despite the warnings, most of the world carries on as if nothing is wrong. Governments hold quiet reports. Power companies file risk assessments. But the general public? Barely aware. And that ignorance is dangerous, because the next storm could arrive tomorrow, and no one, not even NASA, can stop it. So, let's imagine the unthinkable. The year is 2025. You wake up one morning, check your phone, and nothing works. No signal, no Wi-Fi, no GPS. Within minutes, panic begins to spread. What just happened? A massive X-class solar flare has erupted from the sun, launching a coronal mass ejection, a storm of charged plasma, directly at Earth. It slams into our magnetic field with unimaginable force. At first, it looks beautiful. Auroras explode across the skies, visible as far south as Mexico and Florida. Social media floods with pictures until the networks collapse. Satellites begin to fail one by one. GPS signals vanish. Planes lose navigation. Communication between air traffic control and pilots drops into silence. Thousands of flights are grounded worldwide. Down on the ground, the situation turns darker. Power grids surge with electrical currents they were never built to handle. Transformers, the critical backbone of modern electricity, begin to melt. Blackouts ripple from city to city. Within hours, entire nations are in the dark. Banks freeze as digital systems fail. ATMs stop working. Credit cards are useless. The global financial system, built on instant electronic communication, grinds to a halt. Hospitals switch to backup generators, but fuel supplies run low. Life-saving machines falter. Emergency services scramble as radios crackle with static. And then the real nightmare sets in. No internet, no phone lines, no satellites. For the first time in history, the entire planet is cut off from itself. Supply chains collapse, supermarkets run out of food, gas stations can't pump fuel. Within days, cities descend into chaos. And here's the terrifying part. Repairing the damage wouldn't take hours or days. It could take years. High-voltage transformers are not easy to replace. Manufacturing new ones can take 12 to 18 months. Imagine waiting that long for the lights to come back on, while billions of people struggle to survive in the dark. Scientists estimate the economic cost of such an event could reach trillions of dollars. Some even say modern society would never fully recover. A Carrington-level storm in our time would not just be an inconvenience, it would be a reset. Now pause for a moment. We always think of civilization as permanent, as unshakable, but all it takes is a single outburst from a star 93 million miles away to bring everything crashing down. We live every day believing our world is unshakable. We scroll endlessly, shop with a tap, navigate with satellites we never even see. Civilization feels permanent, like a structure too vast to fail. But is it really? The Carrington Event is more than just a solar storm. It's a reminder that everything we rely on is fragile, that all the systems we've built, power grids, the internet, global finance, are nothing more than threads stretched across a void, strong enough to hold in calm weather, but trembling under the weight of a storm. Think about it. If our ancestors could see us now, they would marvel at our technology. Yet they would also recognize something familiar: how easily it can all be taken away. The farmers in 1859 who looked up and saw blood-red skies thought the world was ending. Were they so different from us? Maybe the real question isn't whether the next superstorm will come. Maybe it's whether we, as a species, have built lives so dependent on fragile systems that we've forgotten how to live without them. Strip away the satellites, the grids, the endless connections. What are we left with? Families, communities, human beings trying to survive under the same sky. And perhaps that's the lesson hidden in the Carrington Event. Not just that the sun can destroy, but that it can reveal. Reveal how connected we truly are. Reveal how vulnerable we've made ourselves. Because if a storm from 93 million miles away can bring us to our knees, maybe the real threat isn't the sun at all. Maybe it's our own illusion of permanence. The Carrington Event of 1859 was a warning, a glimpse of the sun's true power. And today, more than a century later, that warning still hangs over us. Scientists can track solar storms, NASA can issue alerts, but no one, not governments, not corporations, not even the brightest minds on Earth, can stop the sun. So the question isn't if it happens again. It's what we'll do when it does. Will we be ready? Or will we stumble blindly into a blackout we can't escape? Maybe history doesn't just repeat. Maybe it waits for us to learn or to ignore until the lesson becomes unavoidable. And when that lesson comes, it won't arrive with speeches or countdowns. It will arrive as a silent wave of particles racing across space, erasing the world we thought was permanent. So tonight, when you look up at the stars, remember, we orbit a star capable of both life and reset. And now I want to hear from you. If a Carrington-level storm struck tomorrow and the world went dark, no internet, no GPS, no power, what would you do first? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's see how humanity, our small corner of it here, would respond. And if you want to keep exploring the mysteries of space, the secrets NASA won't say out loud, and the threats lurking above our heads, make sure you subscribe to Astro Mystery, because this is only the beginning.